is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We're looking at the 7-game main slate here for Tuesday. Sir James, my friend, you're coming off of a nice night in your underdog fantasy streets, hitting your 2-pick prop here, and also not a terrible night over in DFS. Let's see if we can keep the winning going.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone DFS for anyone that needs this pick me up is a ebbs and flows games. There is good highs, there is terrible lows, and sometimes even when you feel like you pick the right players, things go wrong. Players get hurt, players don't perform, and that's part of the game that we play type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel good to obviously have good nights, back-to-back cashing nights in NBA, really good nights over on an underdog, 7-1 the last 2 weeks over there. So trending in the right direction. There's still an edge to be gained. I know I joke with you sometimes, there's no edge, John. There's no edge, and you're
Right.
you just laugh it off. But there's still an edge at the end of the season. We just got to know what teams are doing what, right? Who is playing for something, who's still playing their players all the minutes they can handle. These things really matter, and we're here to help you all the way until the end of the season and beyond, because we'll obviously, even though the streams and the previous shows end, the content over on fantasyalarm.com will not. So
Right.
excited to jump into it. Once again, John, Wemby, Jokic in this one.
No Vassell, no Sohan rest of the season.
Rest of the season. I know, it's brutal. Brutal for them. And possibly no Murray again for Denver. And I mean, that game Jokic had over the weekend was just
I mean, you called it out, right? Without Murray,
game.
big performances here.
Yeah, that is top of the billing, right? Jokic, Wemby. But yeah, 7 games overall, fun slate. Ends at 9:00. Should be a good one.
Yeah, Lakers Toronto here. Toronto getting 13 at home, 230.5 total. Bucks Wizards getting 13.5, 228 total there. No Dame Lillard already in that game. Knicks versus Heat giving 3, 207. Thunder Sixers getting 5, 225. Embiid was questionable, but then ruled out. So
Yep.
We're nearing a Joel Embiid return. Not for this slate, but maybe one later on in the week. Rockets, Timberwolves giving 8, 216. San Antonio, Denver giving 16, 223. Then Cleveland, Utah is the last game on this slate. Jazz getting 11.5, 213 total.
What do we have? 2 10 p.m. games that aren't on the slate? Interesting.
Yeah, a couple of 10 p.m. gamers. No Clippers, Kings, no Dallas, Golden State, because why would we want to have fun?
Why would we have fun, right? Luka coming off the game that he had. I don't know if you saw some of the highlights from some things that Luka was doing the other night. He shot it off the scoreboard in Houston. Did you see that?
No.
You should. It was pregame, but you should look that up. It's absolutely insane. And then, did you see the layup from the 3-point line that he threw up? Luka's just on a different planet. And now they are the 5 seed, John. So
right.
The Luka for MVP buzz is ever so growing. But yeah, it's a fun slate. I mean, Milwaukee on the road without Dame Lillard. We've talked about Milwaukee a lot this year on the road and their kind of struggles on the road to stay competitive. I don't know if that's going to be the case here. No Kuzma for Washington in this game, so I'm not sure how Washington would keep it competitive.
Right.
I know Toronto is definitely healthier here. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly both expected to return.
Right.
Now, no Gary Trent in this game. I don't know if you also heard no Jonte Porter in this game either. He's not playing for Toronto. Michael Porter's playing for the time being, though. We'll see what happens with the Porter brothers move forward. But yeah, overall, pretty interesting slate. SGA questionable, AD LeBron, a lot of big names questionable. Tyrese Maxey questionable. A lot of big names. Some coming back. A lot of them on the injury report. Let's get into it.
Yeah, point guard position. SGA is 10-1. Again, we'll see whether or not he plays or not. He is questionable for this one. Brunson 92, Mitchell 9K, your top 3 guards. How are you breaking it down here?
SGA was terrible the other day. I don't really have any other way to describe how bad he was, but I think it's interesting here. Jalen Williams, J Dub, had a career game in Madison Square Garden the other night, John. You know, the narrative that we have spread feverishly throughout the years. Also, at some point when he went 14 of 18 from the floor with 33 actual points, sprained his ankle. So he is also questionable. So, like, if it's SGA by himself, that's obviously very appealing. I don't know if, no, I shouldn't say by himself because, like, Chet's on the team, but, like, no Jalen Williams, obviously a big deal. So if there's no Jalen, definitely interested in SGA. You can always play Brunson, even in the game, where they lose. He took 25 shots, wasn't like incredibly efficient. Still had 30. He's now scored 26 or more actual in 4 straight games. And they're going to continue to have to rely on him. Donovan Mitchell going back to Utah, where I don't think he enjoyed his time very much. And I know he has not been very good since returning. Cleveland kind of looks out of sorts in general as a whole. But I think Donovan Mitchell at 9K is incredibly appealing. And not even just because, like, yes, he's going back to Utah. That's obviously the thing. This is a great spot for Mitchell. Like,
the total is my only worry, right? Double-digit spread here in this game.
Every game's I mean, dude.
No, I hear you.
We have every which way you look at a double-digit spread. And, it's funny because you think back to Monday slate, Phoenix New Orleans was supposed to be the best game on the board. It, like, never particularly was close. Like, shout out Devin Booker for that, but, like, it was never like a competitive game. Portland, Orlando, John. Orlando won that game by 1 point.
Yeah.
With Portland. So, like, anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett taught us. So
Sure.
I know what you're saying. I'm also just saying if Utah were to keep it close, because Cleveland's kind of been struggling lately, Donovan Mitchell could be his breakout from his return.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to see more minutes. I mean, he's only played the low 30s since he's come back, and more minutes, more production there. We do dump into the 8K range. You talked about quickly coming back. We don't know Murray. You have Jalen Green and Van Vliet down here. Maxey questionable at 86. Like, what are your thoughts in the mid range for point guard?
I mean, if Maxey plays, it's fine. Don't know if we need to go there. Same thing with Jamal Murray. Feels like a game. Even if he does return, it's like low 30s minutes, just given he's missed 10 days, and we know how injury prone he's been throughout the years. Really tough spot for Van Vliet, but we know he has random pop ceilings. So tournaments, obviously Reeves could be really interesting, and so could D'Lo if we're sans LeBron, sans AD. Both those guys listed questionable, so keep obviously hip to the news there. And then when you start dropping below 7K, Heyman Thompson's, I think, a little too expensive. Rozier's a little too expensive.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, I mean, if they're going to have any chance in this game, Jordan Poole's going to have to go. There's no Kuzma, no Tyus Jones. Jordan Poole's been playing a lot of minutes, taking a boatload of shots. Over the last 4 games, 20, 15, 24, 20 shots for Jordan Poole, 34 plus minutes in 3 of the 4. And the other one in the Chicago game, I know this because I played him, was in foul trouble. He had 3 fouls in like 5 minutes. So 29 minutes in that game could have been 40 minutes as well. So Jordan Poole, what do we do with Josh Giddey, John? Because
I think you play him. The ramp up's here. They're getting ready for the playoffs. Even if SGA's in, like, I think Giddey is the play.
They might be without SGA and Jalen Williams here.
Right.
Josh Giddey would be the first player anyone plugs into their lineup. No? Like, number 1 first player in their lineup. He's been pretty incredible for a guy who just kind of wasn't playing a lot of minutes. So Giddey's incredibly interesting. Keontae George has kind of fallen off. You can always play him in tournaments. Miles McBride was really good again against OKC the other night. I know this is a tough spot, but if he continues to just make shots, look at all the games that he's made shots, he has like massive ceilings. I mean, look at,
Right.
I mean, dude, every game he plays 40 minutes. And then you look every game. All right, 4 for 10 from 3, 36 fantasy points. 9 for 14 from 3, 49 fantasy points.
Yeah.
6 for 12 from 3, like every game he's making threes. He's been super productive. So
The minutes are obviously the big factor, right? If he's
of course,
46 minutes, Jesus.
Yeah, it's absurd. No, it's absurd. It's absurd.
It's crazy. So yeah, fully on board with that one there as well. Working your way down, any obvious value for you here, point guard?
I like Tyus Jones at 57, or Trey Jones rather. Sorry, they're just hurt. I know he wasn't great the other night against Golden State, but 32 minutes now in 3 straight games, 29 fantasy points last game. I think Trey Jones continues to see an uptick in production. Mike Conley, I don't know if what's happened with Mike Conley, but I have to assume he's like, all right, we need to win games for seeding. Mike Conley over the last 5 games has played 30 minutes per game, 50-50, essentially 80 splits, 36 fantasy points per game for Conley at 5,500. I've been talking about Houston in the pace-up spot for teams lately. They're in the top half of the league since the All-Star break. I think it's still like third in pace since the All-Star break. So I don't hate Conley. Like, they lost Karl-Anthony Towns, and they needed someone to step up offensively. And Mike Conley has done that. So Conley, obviously, if there's no Jamal Murray, Reggie Jackson continues to be pretty awesome offensively. For the last 5 games, he's gone for 29 plus fantasy points. Only in the Phoenix loss, he struggled. So if there's no Conley, if there's no Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry's been great the last 2 games. Doubled last game, 36 fantasy points the game prior in Cleveland. And they started Cameron Payne. He played 38 minutes with Tyrese Maxey off the floor, 32 fantasy points. He'd be like the most popular play of the slate, I'd assume, if there's no Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
So you could play Branham, 41. He started, played 31 minutes. Wasn't great, but 14 shots. We know takes a lot of shots, is a high usage player.
You think he gets the Vassell minutes here?
Yeah, he did the other day. He started for Vassell. I assume just all status quo on their starting lineup, probably moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Going on over to the shooting guard position here. Anthony Edwards, 94. We talked Donnie Mitch and some of the Houston guys already. You have Sexton at 75, DDV at 7K.
I'm very interested in Edwards. His price is falling. He has hit a skid for sure. Last 5 games, he's not really played well. But the games prior, he was obviously nuking slate after slate after slate. Houston is 5th in pace. I just looked it up since the All-Star break. So really good pace-up spot for Minnesota. I like the bounce back for Edwards. We've talked Donovan Mitchell. Jalen Green finally kind of came back to earth against Dallas. It is what it is. Chalk that one up, throw it away. He's been playing 40 minutes in competitive games. They got torched by Luka. You move on, right?
Yep.
Luka does that to people. He's done it a bunch of times. So definitely okay going back to Green. Colin Sexton, kind of team by himself. No Markkanen, no Clarkson, no John Collins in this one. Sexton has 40 plus fantasy points into it. I feel like we have not talked about Utah. They've been off the main slate for
right.
Or I think, right? Maybe the weekend. I don't know.
It's been a while. Because they were in Sacramento, so they had the late slate there. So
I mean, Sexton team to himself, not revenge narrative there. Former Cav, they just kind of threw him by the wayside. I see you flashing DDV.
40 plus minutes for DDV here.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you saw the quotes today from the Knicks or yesterday, but didn't sound very good or very optimistic that they'd have Randall or OG back for the postseason, John.
Right.
So it looks like we're just getting 40 plus from everybody from here on out, regular season and postseason.
Sure. Mid-tier guys, we've talked Giddey already. There's Oubre down here, McBride, dual positional eligibility. Malik Beasley, someone that I kind of generally tout when there's been guys out of the lineup for Milwaukee. What are your thoughts for some value shooting guard?
We didn't talk Beverly either. He's shooting guard, thankfully. He went crazy the other day with Lillard, which was a little surprising, but that was just a clear omission. That sparked with Beasley. He's 4,500. Him both Beasley and Beverly are in play for sure. If there's no Maxi, dude, I played Kelly Oubre against Toronto. I mean,
He's
like I'm
having good
not.
games.
Yeah, he leads them in usage rate in this instance. I think he was first in fantasy points per minute or second behind Paul Reed. So I would definitely play some Oubre, shooting guard, small forward. We talked about Lowry. Freeman Liberty is going to go back to the bench, so we can kind of ignore him. Chris Dunn played 27 minutes last game. Maybe if he starts and plays a bunch.
Sure.
Cam Whitmore returned, played 22 minutes off rip, 13, 5, and 3 steals. Tough spot, but they're shorthanded.
Right.
He's coming back at the right time. They need his offense. So I wouldn't hate that. Christian Brown continues to be a main staple of the rotation, 26, 28 minutes the last 2 games. If you need like a dumpster dive play. Think that's it. I guess Isaiah Joe would probably be in play for us, right? If SGA
Sure.
and Jalen Williams were to sit,
Yep.
that, but that I think that's probably it.
Small forward, LeBron James 98, buckets at 8K. Obviously, a big price jump down. Denny and Hart, two guys we've been playing a lot of lately. No Kuzma. So Denny probably very much firmly in an option for us here.
Yeah, I mean LBJ for sure for no reason under 10K. After going for 40 actual, but he went up 40 actual, $100 less than he was last slate. Sure. Talked about Edwards, Butler, tournaments only. Denny should have plenty of opportunity here with no Kuzma. I mean, the minutes have been tremendous. That's been the most important thing, I think, than anything. You want to talk about minutes. The minutes king here, Josh Hart. Although maybe Miles McBride has been playing more minutes than him lately.
It's been close.
It's been no issues getting to Hart if he's going to play 45. Toby was good the other day. I'm okay getting to Toby if there's no Maxi. Only needed 30 minutes out of Toby, but 42 fantasy points. Also, dude, no Lillard. Chris Middleton, the last 3 games, 39, 33, 36 minutes. No Dame Lillard, dude. 7,100 against Washington. That's an elite play. Obviously we're gonna Giannis is probably, if not the top spend of the day, he's 1B to one of the centers, right? Either Jokic or Wemby, but if you can't get to Giannis because you take a stand on Jokic or Wemby, like Chris Middleton's a fine top of the bill Milwaukee play for you here.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about this. Obviously, the ramp ups are coming for a lot of these players as we, 2 weeks away from the playoffs here. So yeah, makes a lot of sense to start working Middleton up here. We've talked Oubre, MPJ maybe at 67. Kispert should get some love there without Kuzma at 56. Anybody else for you down here?
Bruce Brown probably will come off the bench again. Kyle Anderson not playing minutes. Grady Dick's probably going to still start and play 30 with Agbaji and Gary Trent out, but very low floor with everyone returning. Sensabaugh, John, coming off a really big game with no Markkanen. Now there's going to be no Markkanen again. 34 minutes, hit a lot of shots. That's what he did in college, which has been kind of surprising why he can't make threes at the pro level. He shot the ball really, really well in college. I'd be okay going back to the well, $4,300 there. Haywood Highsmith has been weirdly good outside the Washington game. Still didn't kill you at his price.
Right.
I think we have to take a look, though, at the 2 Spurs. Champagny Spur, not Washington Champagny. Julian, he played 38 minutes, 25 fantasy points, has now played 31, 28, 38 minutes in 3 straight games. And that was direct correlation. Do we have the Keldon Johnson news? Actually, he's out. So Champagny's going to play all the minutes with no Keldon. So Spurs Champagny, and then, dude, Chetty Osman played 36 minutes the other day. He's $3,900. 18 points, hit 4 threes. I mean, we know Chetty, right? Like 3,900, not 33. But like still, he's gonna play a lot of minutes for the Spurs. They're down 3 wing players. They're down
Yeah.
Vassell. They're down. So yeah, I would get to some Chetty at 39 as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, it's not gonna be pretty, but when they're the only ones playing the minutes, what does it matter, right? Like,
Right.
so
Yep.
I agree with you there. Power forward, Giannis, AD, LeBron. We've talked about all those guys. If you want to get there, no arguments. They're obviously top plays. Where are you prioritizing though at power forward?
Giannis. I mean, it's got to be Giannis, dude. It's a Washington matchup. He's averaged 36, 11, and 6 against this team this year. He's shooting 74% against Washington this year. Like, dude, there's no Dame. It's just got to be Giannis. Giannis per dollar is the best play of the slate. Like, he's cheaper than Jokic by $500. I don't know. I think Giannis is my top play.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, you know me. I always tout Giannis, right? I was like, yeah, you know what? I like the matchup for him. The minutes, he has a ceiling as high as anybody else really does on the slate. So no, won't sit here and fight you on that one. Mid-tier plays. I mean, you mentioned they could be without Jalen Williams here, questionable. If he ends up being in and there's no SGA, we know obviously Jalen Williams is a top option for some in this one. Naz Reid, Jabari, Bobby Poe at 61. Like, what are you thinking in the mid-tier range?
I like Mobley 69. The minutes have been fine. Naz Reid can play low 30s minutes. The price is like kind of stabilized. He has a ceiling. Jabari, tough spot, but coming off a monster game. Very hard to predict Jabari Smith when he's going to be good, when he's going to be bad. No idea. Maybe the most impossible person to figure out on a night-to-night basis. Because he has a crazy high ceiling and a insanely low floor. Bobby Poe, it's a great spot. I don't love the minutes the last 2 games. The New Orleans game, he was in crazy foul trouble from the outset, and they just looked terrible, and he looked terrible. 21 minutes in a pretty competitive game, not encouraging. After you and I talked about it, like he kind of leapfrogged Brook, and then now he didn't. So tournaments for Bobby Poe, it's not like a priority, but you can get to him if you need.
Okay. Hendricks 48, Jaquez 47. Anybody in that group for you?
Hendricks for sure. I'm very high on Taylor Hendricks. All these rebounds and then doesn't get the rebounds against Sacramento and gets all the points. Put it all together, bro. Come on, put it all together. Like we'll get big game. So yeah, as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, it's not the easiest spot. Jovic, Martin, Jaquez, they're all in like the same bucket. If I think Caleb Martin is probable. He was scratched the other day. They all rotate who plays what minutes. So guess the right night. You'll probably get one of them correct. Nwora coming off a game where he played 30 minutes, took 18 shots. I don't know if that's sustainable, but no Agbaji. Like maybe we see Jordan Nwora come off the bench and just take a whole bunch of shots again. No Gary Trent in this game, no Agbaji. So maybe we see a little bit Jordan Nwora even with guys returning. No Kuzma. They probably start Patrick Baldwin again. He was horrible the other night. I don't think we need to go to Patrick Baldwin, but he will start. He is under 4K. And if you don't want to play Patrick Baldwin, Anthony Gill played 20 minutes the other night, 24 fantasy points. It's silly season, John. Like we're just suggesting silly names. Mamu. Do we have Dominic Barlow status? Let's see. Dominic Barlow is out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the silly
Mamu
season,
with power
right?
4 eligibility.
Dude, this is the silly season, right?
Yeah.
He was just in their rotation the other day. No Barlow. It's the same team. He played with Wemby.
Yeah.
That first off, that lineup is crazy.
Very tall.
Him and Wemby is and so many letters, many letters in their names.
The
Dude,
Taylors got their money's worth there,
Dude, he's a great fantasy point per minute guy. Is he not? Like, he is a great fantasy point per minute guy. I have interest in Mamu.
Okay.
My expectation is he actually gets a lot of ownership because in any scenario, if they get blown out, he's playing. He's playing. If they're torched, he's playing the whole fourth quarter, and he's in their rotation regardless. So,
sure.
I have a lot of interest in Mamu.
All right, center position then. Joker is here 12K against Antonio in that game. Wemby on the other side of that matchup at 10-8. AD, Bam at 87. Like, what are your thoughts? Top tier? Are you picking one? Who are you going with?
That's not fair. That's not a fair question. That's not a fair question. Giannis is not included in this, right?
Well, assume you're plugging Mamu at power forward, right?
Well, Giannis is my answer if he's an option of this tier. If Giannis is,
I didn't say he wasn't. I mentioned that he was there.
If we're saying,
so we're going Mamu Giannis is what you're saying.
Look, Jokic is 1.9 fantasy points per minute without Jamal Murray. If you want to play Jokic, by all means. The game might be over in 3 quarters, but also Victor Wembanyama is, and I've said it to you ad nauseum, that the Spurs are keeping games competitive and like outright beating the Knicks the other day, right? Like, they've been competitive. Wemby can do that. Like, what's your answer?
I mean, I would probably go Giannis with you as well.
I think Giannis, Jokic, Wemby, Davis, and I don't feel good about it because Anthony Davis could very well have like as good a matchup as anybody here.
Sure.
What if LeBron doesn't play?
Well, if LeBron doesn't play, we'd play Anthony Davis. We know that answer.
Well, I know. Well, then we'll be able to play. We'll be able to play 2 of them. Like, we'd be able to probably get Davis, Giannis.
I mean, there's nothing. I mean, you can just play all the San Antonio value.
All the Spurs.
Mamu having power forward eligibility unlocks him
for
other positions. So.
Such a game changer. He's going to be so popular. He's going to be so.
Oh, probably. Is there even anybody in the mid tier you want to play?
Chet, if guys are out, he's been pretty bad, but I would play Chet. If guys are out, I mean, I understand he's been bad, but like he's also been awesome for a long stretch of time.
Get Bags by himself here.
Yeah, he's been good. The minutes, I'm wondering if this is late season.
There's no like, Kuzma though. Like it kind of helps him.
That's true. Rashawn Holmes, I think, is questionable, so they'll have to worry about the Holmes news for Bagley a little bit.
Blocker Kessler getting 32 minutes last game.
Should why? Like at this point, what are we doing? Not giving him 32 minutes?
I agree. They have nobody else in that front court right now, so. 47 for him. What did Jock do? Jock play minutes the other day? Nope, 19. Kevin Love gets some minutes, 15 in that game.
Yeah, not enough.
29 fantasy points in 15 minutes.
I mean, he's a nut, and he's like super good on a fantasy point per minute scale, but like probably can't get there.
Hopefully they start Darius Bazley. What do you think?
Dude, shout out to the legend, huh? Miss him.
One of my first top shots.
He's back up. Oh no! No wonder Top Shot's dead.
And like Darius Bazley out of like 100, I was like, "This is the greatest card ever." What a highlight,
honey! Look what this does. It spins.
Yeah.
Look at the cool music. That's
he had a dunk. It was a dunk. All right, so we did this already, right? We did Mamu Giannis. Mamu Giannis.
It doesn't matter which position.
Branham, I guess, right? Like,
I mean, dude, like Champagny. I think Champagny. We've seen Champagny close and start games for the Spurs, right? Like $4,200.
I'm perfectly okay going and starting lineups here.
Dude, they have 4. They're missing 4, like everybody, right? Like, I mean.
All right, we got 4 Spurs.
Dude, I mean, seriously, like it's
$7,500 to play with. So where are we going?
And we have util. So, what about Joker?
You think we can fit him in?
Checking it.
Yeah, might as well 53.
I think because look, if Tyrese Maxey sits, this is the easiest lineup we ever have
campaign at 42.
And then we have 65, and you can play Kelly Oubre, I think, right? Or we miss on it.
No. If Maxey's out, this is the lineup, right? Payne, Oubre, Jokic, and Spurs.
The only thing that would change would be if OKC sits guys, we'd have to adjust because we'd probably have to find a way to get Gideon to the lineup.
Sure.
But like, let's say
It's only $100 less than Nubre, so we just need to find $100.
Dude, we just built a line on stream that has Giannis Jokic that both you and I were like, hell yeah.
Sure.
What's that mean? The hell yeah I mean?
Yeah. All right, there it is. Example lineup. I think am I on the playbook? Do you?
I am. Yeah, I am.
James on the playbook for Tuesday, so he'll be the one to deal with all this mess. We'll be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so check us out then. We'll talk to you later.